It turns out I'm an angsty, nearly 40-year-old. You know, they say you're as young as you feel, and I feel like a 40-year-old that's watching my so-called life, wishing she had that much of an excuse to wear that much flannel again. Okay, so thank you for coming. This is the first episode going forward in my new YouTube format. So, this is the officially unofficial geek channel, and this is our main event. I think that's what I'm gonna end up calling it. This is the main event, the main show. Where we talk about the major shit. All right, so hi, this is the officially unofficial geek channel, and this is the main event, the show. I am your host, Carrie Quinn. As always, I am here to geek out on you. Not that that didn't sound at all dirty. Oh well. So like I was mentioning, this is the first inaugural episode of the main event on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Okay. So, for those of you that are not familiar, I am Carrie Quinn, and I was doing the YouTube content that I've been doing most recently, involving reviews and that kind of thing. I have like a haul video and I have an unboxing video, and I'm planning to still continue doing all of that. That is not going away. I have a lot of fun doing that, and I have a lot of fun doing this kind of stuff, and so I am here. I am not going anywhere when it comes to that stuff, but we're adding to it. So basically, these are the episodes that I would have done as part of the podcast, but I've decided to go with a full YouTube content format and Vogue while doing it, as you can see. Since I've been talking about a lot of 90s stuff lately, and that just kind of felt organic to me in the moment. So I do have notes. I take notes, and I do the podcast. When I was doing the podcast, I do it based on notes, but it's a lot easier to hide it when you're doing the podcast. Like, I have it here next to me on my cell phone screen, my smartphone. But yeah, so if you see me looking down and then re-engaging with you, that is basically why I'm doing this. I'm not, twitching or having a reaction to anything that I know of. So kind of what I was doing, I started doing on the podcast format of the show. And I'm going to continue that this week. And then I don't know pretty much where I'll go from here, but I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do for my next main event channel show. But for now, I was kind of diving into the idea of all the 90s nostalgia, late 80s, 90s nostalgia that has been going around lately. And my most recent podcast episode, I was talking about a comic that I used to read, Death, the High Cost of Living, and the X-Men cartoon, and basically how it aged from my young mind to my almost 39-year-old mind, as it is right now. I'm technically 39. I am not 40 yet, but we can go ahead and round it up. Oh well. So this week I'm going to be talking about an icon of the 90s, the mid-90s, is the television show, very short-lived television show that aired on ABC, starring Miss Claire Danes, Jared Leto, and company, My So-Called Life. the short-lived one season. It wasn't even like all that long. Like it premiered in the fall, and then it was done by, I think, January or February of that next, well, like of that same television season. It was a very short season. And we'll kind of talk about that later in that process. But what I want to go ahead and I want to do is I want to take a little bit of time to talk to you before I get to that. We're going to get back to that. But I'm going to be talking to you about taking a little time to talk to you about different things that I'm geeking out on. I'm going to tell you about stuff that I'm reading, stuff that I'm watching, stuff that I'm doing, and stuff that I'm excited about. So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff first, and before we get to the main event of talking about my so-called life. So first I want to tell you about some of the stuff that I'm reading right now. It's a lot of comics. A lot of comics and a lot of trades. As you guys can tell from my previous videos that I've done on here, there's a lot of comic content. One of the things that I'll be doing a video of soon would be the Batman White Knight series and the Batman Curse of the White Knight. I got both of those, as you can tell, in a previous video. I did a trade haul video. And so both of those were involved. And the other thing that I'm currently reading was also involved. I'm going to actually bring that up on the screen. The Joker War Saga. This is my current read. This is what's happening right now. This is what I'm into, what I'm reading right now. So a lot of comics, and you know, I had to battle with that a little bit. I love it, but it's taking up all my reading time, and you know what? I'm actually now fine with it. You know, I did some soul searching, and I'm like, you know what? At least I'm fucking reading. You know, at least I'm fucking reading again. And I'm going to be reading other books, but, you know, right now I'm just really into this stuff, and it's got me going. So, that's what I'm reading right now. As always, I'm going to be doing reviews on the White Knight and Curse of the White Knight series. And I'm also, when this is done, I'll be doing a review on this one and any of my other trades that are coming up, but I won't talk about them now because I'm not reading them yet. But I have mentioned a bunch of them in videos, so yeah, they're coming, don't worry. So what am I watching lately? Oh gosh, like, okay, so like any good geek, I am watching the Falcon and Winter Soldier show on Disney Plus. Of course, like any good geek, I am also watching things like I did a video recently about my spoiler-free review of Godzilla vs. Kong. You can check that out on the channel. And also, I believe somewhere along the line I did talk about watching the Disney Plus. Oh, okay, so Disney Plus put on some content, some older content from Star Wars. And I did watch the Caravan of Courage Ewok movie with my boyfriend. He insisted on it, and it wasn't all that bad. It was cheesy, in my opinion, but it wasn't all that bad. I still have other stuff to watch, but I'm gonna get to it, for real. Any other time that we were thinking of watching it during this past week, something else would come up, and we wouldn't get to watch it, and you know, like, so another thing I was watching, kind of going into another one, I actually did a viewing of Empire Records on Rex Manning Day. Yeah, so I love that movie, and there's parts of it that I have committed to memory, and I think there's a lot of people that probably love that film that have parts of it committed to memory like I do. So it's really good shit. So I also started, I watched a couple episodes, well, almost a full 2 episodes of the HBO Max series, the HBO series Q Into the Storm. I gotta tell you something, I do not believe in the QAnon things. I don't, and I won't get too into that. Because it's not really something that I want to get too into. Um, I will say that I watched probably uh, most of the first 2 episodes, um, mostly because there's a lot of buzz around it lately. And while I am not too into the Q thing, I am kind of intrigued by the whole thing. And so when I started seeing some of the things that were coming up because of the last episode, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to give this another shot. The thing is, I basically got to the point in the second episode, and if you guys have seen it, you'll know what I mean. The part in the second episode where they start talking to one of the owners of 8chan, and it's the older dude, the glasses, that runs the farms in the Philippines, and I I I didn't get the best vibe off of that whole circumstance, and so it kind of just turned me off to the rest of the episode. I don't know, I might just skip to the next one and see what happens, because I shut that off part of the way through. So another thing that I've been watching lately is on Stars. It's called Men in Kilts. It's starring it's hosted by two of the stars from the show Outlander, Graham McTavish and Sam from Outlander. And basically what it is it's kind of like a travel documentary type of show, where they are basically every Sunday talking about Scotland, and going to different places, and talking about different cultural aspects of Scotland and being Scottish. And it's absolutely wonderful. And it's actually one of these things that I'm really excited to say that I actually do watch with my boyfriend. My boyfriend does enjoy it as well. And actually this Sunday, tomorrow, is the last episode. So that's kind of a bummer. It's only 8 episodes. But it's worth it now, like, because tomorrow's the last episode. So if you're one of those people that waits to watch an episode of something, or watch a series of something, more like, when on these apps, when it's all completed so that you can binge it, tomorrow. You can do that with the Stars app tomorrow. If you've been wanting to watch Men in Kilts, you can do that tomorrow with the Stars app, because it will have been the last episode. 8 episodes. They're all about a half hour each. Does not feel like enough time. I could sat there for another half hour and learned even more from these guys, because it was very funny. It was informative and funny and really cool. So, well done for that. Definitely recommended. Okay, so another thing that's been on my TV. So guys, okay, so when I was a kid and when I was a teenager, I watched wrestling. Oh well. So I watched wrestling, and I'm not going to apologize for it, because it is interesting and fun entertainment. I haven't watched anything really lately, but Peacock app has old WrestleManias from like the beginning, from like the first fucking WrestleMania on. Okay, so I had watched tidbits of the first WrestleMania. As much as I tried not to pay attention, I was there. I was paying attention. I was getting like really nostalgic. Actually, it's just kind of funny because of the theme of the main event show today for the channel involving nostalgia. I was really feeling that nostalgia and like looking at everything, and you have like it's some good stuff. It's like looking at it and reliving your childhood, remembering, you know, like I think it was like I used to watch like the Monday night wrestling and even like Saturday morning, like Saturday mid morning, not mid morning, but late morning, early afternoon when it used to be on, and also like I think it was on Mondays, the WWF, now the WWE. So like this first WrestleMania and had like Roddy Piper fighting. Well, he was with Mr. Wonderful, and they were fighting. This is the main event. Mr. T and Hulk Hogan. Now that's worth the price of admission alone. Okay, first off, I mean, who doesn't love like watching Roddy Piper? You know, and it took like I had to sit there and be like, wait, I had forgotten that Roddy Piper was like considered one of these villain characters because I just like most recently I just think about watching him and They Live and just thinking like, oh my god, he's so fucking awesome. Yeah, I mean, so um definitely it's kind of a difference for me between watching old footage of Roddy Piper being the villain versus watching him in some movie like the, you know, Frogtown movie or They Live. So if you don't know, They Live is really awesome and you should just check it out. Just take my word for it. You are not gonna be sad that you watched it if you're someone like me. Just consume it. And if you've watched if you've watched They Live, you understand why that's a joke. Come back later once you've watched it. Some other things that I've been watching, there's a lot of YouTube content that I watch. And I'm thinking like that's kind of like my idea right now about what I'm probably going to talk about on the next show. Let's talk about different YouTube creators that I'm watching and what they're doing and what I like about them. Since I'm primarily on YouTube now. So I think that that would be a really great thing to do. But I just want to kind of like wrap this up. And, you know, do that. So I'm thinking maybe I am going to talk about YouTube content for the next main event show. So that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. So next up is what am I doing? Sorry, I had to pause that and take a drink, and it's actually kind of a fizzy drink, so I didn't want to belch in your faces. No fun. So what am I doing right now? What am I going through? What am I doing? So I want to learn how to game a video game. Because I've wanted to, and I sincerely, the last time I really video gamed a bit was when I was a kid with the Nintendo NES, the original NES. Pretty damn good at Duck Hunt. Besides that, so we recently, to my boyfriend's Xbox One, downloaded Injustice 2 because I kind of like fight games. All right. I want to learn the video game, and there's a couple other games on there that I think I would want to play. But doing what I can, you know, just dipping the toe in the pool of possibility. and seeing if anything bites my toe off or if it feels good. Um, I'm also I've been working to trying to plan out possible unboxing videos and like haul videos, and I really would love, because I sit there and I kind of like surf the web trying to figure this out and like what kind of thing I want to do. I would love suggestions. If any of you have any, please comment and let me know your suggestions. What do you think would be a good theme for an unboxing for me, or maybe a haul video, or maybe you know of a um, really great subscription box that you think is right up my alley and I should do it, and then do a video of it outside of the main event videos. Um, so what is some stuff that I'm excited about? Well, you know, after the long COVID pandemic, one of the things that just happened recently was Gen Con is moving forward with September dates, September 16th through the 19th. I do love Gen Con. I've been there a couple times. It's a lot of fun. It's a gaming convention. It takes place in Indianapolis, and I am considering going. But the thing is it's doing it a little bit different. Um, it's going to be like a hybrid situation where, like last year, when they decided not to have the con because of the pandemic, they did a virtual con and little pop-up Gen Cons in area gaming stores. Well, they're going to be doing both of those things again, but they're also going to be doing an in-person con, which is going to be really toned down from like attendance. Um, in prior years, believe me, that one gets really crowded because I've been to it. It's been really crowded. It gets really crowded specifically on Saturdays, and which is really cool. Except for the crowds really suck, and it's usually in the middle of the summer. But right now, it is going to be mid September, so that's pretty cool. So maybe it won't be as horribly hot as it usually is, um, which will make it more comfortable to be there and more comfortable to actually step outside maybe and get away from the crowds for a moment and go to like, they have like usually have like the food trucks that all come out and converge near the convention center in Indianapolis, and lots of really good food and fun. And they do have gaming there, and like kind of like regular cons where they have, the exhibitors and everything like that. It's a lot of fun. um Another thing I'm really fucking excited for is this past week on First Contact Day, Star Trek First Contact Day, Paramount Plus released a teaser trailer for the Picard second season, and it basically It it really, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, when someone teases you like this and you're thinking like, this really isn't a tease, this is a reveal. Um so basically the teaser trailer revealed that Q is probably going to be involved in this season. And like when I say it's a not necessarily a teaser but more of a reveal, it's because if you see the teaser trailer, which I did, and wow, yeah, it definitely is going to, mark my words, definitely is going to involve Q, and that I am excited for. I'm excited as fuck for. It's gonna be great. So that's what I'm excited for. So okay, all right. Now to the main event of the main event. We're going to talk about my so-called life. Um, so kind of like what I was talking about earlier, I watched a number of episodes from that one season of My So-Called Life to see if I still like it after all these years. What I found out is that it still spoke to me as a woman, but kind of in a different way. It spoke to me as a woman, and it spoke to me as an awkward person, as an awkward woman, trying to find her place still in this world. And um, I still love all the 90s music and all the fashion, and I miss all my flannel shirts, and I should get more. Yeah. Um, this is basically one of those things where it's like you have this show that spoke to teenagers at that time, because it dealt with a lot of the issues that teenagers were dealing with. It dealt with homophobia. It like very real issues. Okay, so like it dealt with homophobia. It dealt with especially like 1990s issues. It dealt with gun violence, with family issues, women being the breadwinners of a family, and censorship, and all these things. Alongside of a story of a girl just trying to navigate it all, trying to figure out who she is, and trying to figure out if she is who she thought she was all of her life, and who can't, relate to that at some point in their life. You've probably had one of these situations where you're like, am I really where I need to be at this point? And maybe you've had multiple moments like that. And I think that as a woman that has had multiple moments like that, probably due to just being unsatisfied in her career, and where her life's going, I really still I really still related to Angela Chase. Um, Angela Chase, played by Claire Danes, who was 14, 15 at the time. Wow. She was 14, 15 at the time. And quite oddly, I believe I read that Jared Leto, who played Jordan Catalano, her on again, off again love interest in the show, was 21 when he played Jordan Catalano. Now, thank God this was on ABC, so you don't have any of that weird. Okay, sorry. You do have some of that weird older guy stuff going on, and it is, when you find that out, it's kind of, that's that I will say is kind of odd. It's like, okay, so she's 15 and he's 21 and she's making out with him on camera. That, I will say, one criticism I will say, that knowing it later in life, knowing a lot of the whole like Me Too and all this other stuff going on, and everything like that about, sometimes older men taking advantage of younger women, stuff that happened with the Nexium cult, all these things that have happened since then. You have the stories in the news about Matt Gaetz, and what he's doing, or what he supposedly did, what he's potentially going to be accused of doing, slash is already being accused of doing. You see the stuff, like that. Um, yeah, like that is the one thing that, as an older woman, that you look at and you're like, okay, yes, it was in front of cameras, and yes, it was just pretend, it was fiction, um but she is a 15-year-old girl, and she is being directed in a makeout session with a 21-year-old man. odd, creepy, weird. And that's not necessarily the fault of the actors so much. They're acting a part, they're doing a job, especially, you know, in that circumstance. But I don't know, it just seems like it's kind of weird. Like back then, I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it back then. I did not know about the age difference between the two actors. Um to think anything about the responsibility of the production staff. Um so I don't hold it against the actors at all. I don't. But it's kind of weird. It's not kind of weird, it is weird. I But other than that, some little tidbits about the show. It's kind of like I was mentioning earlier. It was one season, not even like a full season comparatively to other shows that happen. Um, but there was, I don't know, I forget how many episodes at this point, but it brought up, you know, major issues that were going on in the world that day during that time period. Some major issues that are still prevalent today. I mean, you know, people out there are still homophobic. People still, there's a lot of gun violence, especially in schools. And it just had, you know, number of some of the first mass murderers, mass shootings, excuse me, that has happened, because everyone's starting to come out of their pandemic confines. So we've got that going again now. So yes, it's still, it's like one of those things where it's like you judge something and its lasting quality on whether it still speaks to the now. Um, that's how something is not dated, or yeah, like it's just how something is not dated and and it still applies to now, and that is what the show is. Another tidbit that I found that was interesting, I didn't realize this, the writer, the head show writer on My So-Called Life, is also responsible partly for Broadway show Wicked. Yeah. So there's, okay, with the Broadway show of Wicked, there's two main writers. You have the musical writer and you have the book writing, which is basically all the spoken words and that kind of thing. So that is written by Winnie Holtzman, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But she is also responsible for, she's the head show writer for My So-Called Life. She was the head show writer for My So-Called Life. In Like I had mentioned, that the show had been canceled after one season. Even though it had great reviews, Claire Danes won a Golden Globe for her portrayal of Angela Chase, and excuse me, lots of other nominations had happened. They had won some awards too. Besides the Golden Globe that I almost called her Angela Chase, that Claire Danes won for portraying Angela Chase. It got a lot of critical acclaim. The problem is probably one of the problems that happened was probably placement. Is the ABC show running at the same time as Friends was on NBC, among other things. And I thought that when I heard about it later, and I didn't realize that it wasn't just the lukewarm ratings that caused the downfall of My So-Called Life. I did not realize that actually, I just figured that out now, like a little bit ago when I was doing a little research background. Claire Danes and her parents went to the show and said that she wasn't completely sold on doing another season, which is different. I didn't actually know that until today, and this is like I read this on Wikipedia, so maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but it seems to be something that people have an understanding of in other areas that you can look. And so, it wasn't just the bad ratings, but also because they were basically losing their star. She didn't want to do this show anymore. Now, I couldn't find any major reason why, but yeah, that's my so-called life for you. So overall, yes, it is still as good as it was back in the early 90s, the mid 90s. It's really funny because I also read that originally the two main people in charge of the show were doing, work of casting. And originally, like, one of them had Alicia Silverstone um, audition, and they really liked her, and one of them wanted to cast her, and the other one was like, no, I think she's too traditionally pretty to be Angela Chase. And while I do think Claire Danes is gorgeous woman and everything like that, I do kind of understand that, because Angela Chase had to be the every woman teenager, and Alicia Silverstone was Cher in Clueless. So I do like that when it was all said and done, you had someone that a lot of us could relate to at that time. So overall, my reaction, I still like it. I still like it, despite the kind of the weirdness that's there involving the cast and their ages. That kind of weirded me out a bit. But overall, like, other than that, it holds up. So okay, so we're reaching the end of the show, and I'm really excited about this new format, and I'm really excited about where it can take us. So like I said, I'm still working on a topic for the next show. But do expect my other content that you've already gotten from me here on YouTube, with the reviews and all that kind of stuff, because that's still coming. Comic reviews, book reviews, trade reviews, all that stuff. Show reviews, movie reviews, all those things are still a part of this channel. But we are also moving on and doing this whole, like, main event show where it's kind of going to be, regular, larger content, more theme to it. So we're going to refer to these shows as the main event episodes of the channel. So you'll be able to tell the difference. So if you would rather just rather just watch, if you'd rather just watch one of my review episodes, you'll know the difference between this and that. But watch both, because it's the same awkward Carrie, same awkward time, same awkward fun. So oh golly. Yeah, so the format changes there. There's also we have the TikTok still. So that's at officially unofficial geek. So that hasn't changed. And then we also have the Facebook, of which I will have in the show notes here. how to find that. So until next time, please take care of each other and geek out on something, find something you love, find something that interests you, and just kind of ride that baby to the edge of the world and jump off into the water of the ocean with it and swim, swim, swim until you reach China or Australia or Madagascar. Or maybe you take a whole wrong turn completely and end up right back where you started. Who knows? So, hi. Okay, so this has been the officially unofficial Geek channel main event. And I've had a really great time talking with you guys. And my name is Carrie Quinn, and I am always your host. And I'm always here geeking out on something daily. So, like I said, check out the Facebook, check out the TikTok, and subscribe to this channel. And like this video, comments, please. I need suggestions on unboxing videos, haul themes, and take care of each other. Have a great time geeking out on things. Read. Get a vaccine plan. Implement that vaccine plan because we need to get back into it. And always reach further and be kind to yourself overall. Until next time, the officially unofficial geek signing off.